Mitos.
Welcome back to Laughing in the Dark, the podcast where I hang out in haunted places with comedians. This is another fixture in our Sunday Minisode series where I talk to you about your ghost stories. For this Minisode, I spoke to Lucky from Mississippi. Lucky is the resident psychic at the Lizzie Borden house in Fall River, Massachusetts, and told me all about it. Did you know the home where the infamous Lizzie Borden double murder took place is now a bed and breakfast? I have to check this out. Here's the call.
Hi.
Hi, is this Lucky?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Lucky. This is Sarah. I'm calling from Laughing in the Dark. How are you?
Sarah, I almost had a stroke just a minute ago. I recently had my cell phone provider changed and completely drew a blank about getting that to you. And I'm like, okay, they're not calling yet. And I lost my mind.
Oh, no. Well, yeah, thanks for the email because actually, so you talked to my manager before. We use the same email address. So I usually just ignore any ghost story emails. But then I was like, this number is not working. And that happens a lot, that people just won't answer when we call. You know what I mean? So I'll just text my manager and be like, oh, we lost one. And it just, you know.
Oh, my God, no, I was panicking. I'm like, oh, my God, they're going to...
Oh, no. Well, no, we totally... If we would have missed you, you could have emailed us. We would have rescheduled. No problem.
Yeah.
But thank you. So where are you right now?
Oh, you're welcome. I'm sorry, honey?
Where are you right now?
I'm in Mississippi. I moved to Mississippi.
Mississippi.
I moved to Mississippi in January. I came down here. We inherited a whole bunch of land after one of my in-laws passed away. And just a long story short, I had got through some cancer treatments up in Boston last year, got put into remission, and decided to come down here and just take some time and relax, but still travel back to Massachusetts and across the country to do my paranormal events and stuff. So here
that
we
sounds
are.
Cool. So you do paranormal events?
Oh, I host and speak at paranormal events across the country. I just got scheduled for a big Parafest in San Antonio, Texas in September. I'll be speaking up at the Lizzie Borden in June for 2 nights. I host my own event up in Keene, New Hampshire in October during Halloween time. So, yeah, I've been a busy girl.
That is so cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So this is right up your alley then, it sounds like.
Yes, it is. It really is.
Well, that's cool. So what got you started doing all that?
I've been, believe it or not, doing readings for decades. I grew up in I have a long lineage of women psychics in my family. My mom, my 2 sisters, my maternal grandmother. When I was 8 years old, I was visited by a full body apparition who was standing next to my bed and whispered in my right ear, "You have it, and you know when to use it." So growing up, I used to see my sisters and mom table tipping in the living room, and come to find out that the apparition that visited me when I was 8, it turned out to be my maternal grandmother, Dorothy, who instilled the gifts to my mom and sisters.
Wow, that's crazy. That's awesome.
It is crazy.
Well, it's cool that you all
It's
kind of share that together. Like you can all kind of talk about it, I guess. And that's validating itself too, you know?
Right. Before my sister Rosalie died, who was my oldest sister, when the 3 of us used to get together, me, my sister Jeannie, and her, you wouldn't believe the things that were happening when we would all, get together.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So is there a specific ghost story that you had for me, or was there a couple stories that you wanted to share?
Well, I've spent a lot of time at two locations in Massachusetts which are near and dear to my heart. The first being is obviously the Lizzie Borden Bed and Breakfast, where I've had the privilege and honor of being, in past years, the official psychic there. I would conduct paranormal investigations.
Sorry, is it the actual Lizzie Borden house?
Yeah, this was the official home that the family lived where the double murders occurred in 1892.
And
August
it's a
4th.
bed and breakfast now?
It is a bed and breakfast now.
Oh, my God, I have to go.
You have to go.
Yeah.
And I'd love to have you come up. I do a ton of events there throughout the years. I've got a couple events coming up June 7th and June 8th where where I'm holding overnight. We invite the public there to sleep over, and I do my thing, and we investigate for the night, and it's incredible. The house is incredible.
Oh, my God, that sounds so cool. I had no idea you could actually stay there. We'll have to talk about that. We'll stay in touch in email because we can talk about doing some promotional stuff.
Oh, yeah. That would be great.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's really an intriguing location. And you can actually sleep in the same room where Mrs. Borden got hacked and sit on the couch area, not the official couch, but, they have a replica of the couch where her father was hacked in the living room. I mean, it's really, really, really cool.
Wow, that's crazy. That's awesome. Yeah, I'd love to stay there. That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
I'd have to get a really good comedian for that episode. That would have to be a really special one.
You would definitely have to get someone who, can put the twist on it for sure. Yeah.
That's it. Well, or someone who would get really freaked out. My favorite ones are the ones where the comic is doesn't even believe in ghosts and whatever. And then they just flip out. I think it's so funny. So I would either want that or someone who, had a good sense of humor.
Yeah, we had, I did an investigation there, a private investigation, and invited guests over. And I actually co-hosted it with a woman by the name of Sherry DiBenedetti, who was on the original Ghost Hunter show on TV. She's a dear friend of mine. She lives in Massachusetts. And we were all sitting on the bed that's in Lizzie Borden's room. When Lizzie Borden was alive, that was her room. And I have a lot of communication with Lizzie there. She knows my spirit and knows my energy. So I've had some amazing things happen to me over the years that we've captured on audio and video. But this one specific night, I'm sitting on the bed and all the guests are around and I'm talking to Lizzie. And one of my favorite things to ask her is, Lizzie, when you were on the stand because you were arrested for the murders of your parents, you gave the prosecutors an alibi. And you told them that you were out back at the time of the murders eating pears because they had numerous pear trees on the property. And on the stand, she told the prosecutor that she was eating pears. And he says, well, how many pears were you eating? And she said 6. So one of my favorite questions to ask her when I'm in the house is, Lizzie, how many pears did you say you were eating the day of the murders? And right there, because we had it on a spirit speaker, where I have a radio that scans backwards, and you can hear anomalies come through it other than radio stations. And immediately after I had asked her that, there was a female voice that said, 6! And this one woman almost fainted dead on the floor. We had to take her out of the house. She could not believe the fact that we got an answer, and it was the correct answer. And this, this crazy voice came across this machine that we're using to do ghost hunting. So that was pretty funny.
That's awesome. Yeah, I would be so excited.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. Crazy fun there.
Yeah. So you said that it's like you almost know Lizzie, like she is connected to you in some way. Does she... I
feel that she is. I really do. Yeah.
I was just wondering, does it seem like she's remorseful for what she did or not at all?
Oh, not without a doubt. No remorse.
Really?
She's vindictive. Yeah, she's abrasive. She's vindictive. She's malicious. She's playful. She stands her ground. She was quite the bully. and she still is the bully. You know, they say that your spirit on how you portray yourself here on earth, if you're a good person, a bad person, an honest person, you take that over into the afterlife. And I believe that.
I believe that too.
I've done hundreds of investigations and know that there's maliciousness and just deviancy from some of the ghosts when you do the background on these people. Oh yeah, she's a character for sure. Oh yeah.
Has she ever harmed anyone in the house as a ghost?
Did she have a what?
Has she ever harmed anyone in the house as a ghost?
I don't know. I mean, she does a lot of stuff.
Like what?
Well, there's been shadows in the house. There's also been things moved. There's been things broken. They held a lot of official items in the house from dating back to 1892. There's been things that have been in enclosed locked stands and stuff that have been missing or broken. So, I mean, how do you figure that? I really mean, how do you figure that?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. And, I mean, there's been whispers and just all kinds of, I mean, I've got so much evidence. I intend on writing a book one day called The Borden of Truth rather than The Burden of Truth on a play on the name.
Clever.
Yep, very clever. And I've got a lot of chapters done already, but, I'm continuing to do events there. So I take pieces from all my events and all my experiences and write chapters about them. So I'm going to continue as long as the good Lord will allow me to do so.
That is so cool. That is just so awesome. Yeah, I can't wait. I'll definitely keep an ay out for that book because I will want to read it.
Oh, absolutely. I'll send you a free copy. I'll
thank you.
Send you a copy to review it before it even gets published.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah, I would love to read that.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. So, all right. So you've had these experiences in the Borden house. What other ghost stories do you have to share with me? Do you have a couple more that you wanted to share, or was it mainly the focus on the Borden house?
No, actually, there's a house that's been on all the TV programs, such as the Lizzie Borden, all the ghost hunting shows, called the S.K. Pierce Haunted Victorian Mansion in a little town called Gardner, Mass., which was actually next door to the town I used to live in before I moved to Mississippi. I have had the privilege of doing over 100 investigations there. My team, New England Paranormal, and I would host events, and such as Lizzie, we would invite the public. The story behind the S.K. Pierce Mansion is that it was owned by a furniture magnate called, his name was Sylvester K. Pierce. Gardner, Mass. used to be the furniture capital of the world. Per capita, in this little teeny small town, it was produced the most iconic furniture in the world. And still to this day, you have the Hayward Gardner furniture, you have the Pierce furniture, and they still are around, and they're probably worth a lot of money because obviously through the years they have not been manufactured. All of the furniture making stores have closed down and gone to overseas markets, as you can understand with,
like IKEA
the history of.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And all those bigger markets and stuff. But this house is incredible. It's an old Victorian mansion. It's got 3 floors. And there has been numerous stories about a gentleman by the name of Eno Sare, who was a local gentleman who lived there at the time. After the Sylvester K. Pierce family owned it, it got turned into a boarding house, and all the rooms had numbers and stuff. And Eno, who was a sailor, he used to live there, and he loved cigarettes, and he loved to drink his whiskey. So
good man.
In the ghost hunting, yeah, he was a great man, and swore like a sailor too. Swore like a
love him.
Sailor. He was my favorite spirit, such as Lizzie. Him and I had a love-hate relationship. He would swear at me all the time on Ghost Box, on Recorder. But one specific night, I had about 25 people in the house, and we broke up into different teams. I would take most of the people into the master bedroom where actually, let me go back. He actually died in the house. They say that he spontaneously combusted, but over the generational years of investigations there in history through the town of Gardner, they said that he fell asleep with a cigarette, had a bottle of whiskey on his bed, and it blew the bed up.
Oh, yeah, that makes
sense.
That. Spontaneously combusted those sounds cooler.
It sounds more maniacal. Exactly.
Yes. But I mean, it does make sense. Whiskey, cigarettes, yeah.
It does make sense. It does. So, in the ghost hunting profession or field, there's something called a trigger item, where if you know a ghost has an affinity for something, you would bring it with you to try to lure them. So anytime I would go to the house, I would bring a cigarette and a little nip of whiskey. This one specific night, I had, ironically, all women in the room with me during the team's breaking up of the public. Shut the door and get in there, lay on the floor, sit on the floor, and I start my banter with Eno. Hey, it's Lucky, I'm back. How you doing? I brought you your presents, your cigarette and your whiskey. And I'm looking through my ghost bag with all my equipment and stuff in it. And I'm looking, and there was no whiskey and cigarette in there, which was not ghostly fashion. I completely forgot to pack them that night.
Oh, no.
So we're all laughing. I know, and I did, and I felt bad. I had left another bag at the house, and I remembered it before I left because I was running late. And
oh, no.
And I'm saying to Eno, I know, and I'm saying to Eno, don't be mad at me. I forgot your whiskey and cigarettes. Can you please still come around? I would talk to them like I'm talking to you because, you never try to banter them or be disrespectful.
Right.
And one of the women goes, that's okay, Lucky. Ha, ha, ha. She started laughing. We can take him across the street to the bar. And there is a bar across the street, and it's still operational. It's called the Soho. And she goes, we can take him across the street to the Soho, and we'll get him some whiskey. And we all started laughing and stuff like that. And we continued our investigation. Well, I had all this on a recorder. Now, you can't hear the recorder until you play it back. The next day, Candace, my wife and I, were going through some of the evidence, and we were replaying back the recorder in that room. And you could hear the whole thing about me apologizing, the woman talking about taking him to the Soho. And then, like I said, there were no men in the room.
Right.
All of a sudden, after the laugh, you would hear, and I'm gonna repeat it, but it was in a male, deep, dark voice. It said, I've already had my whiskey, bitch.
Whoa.
And we were like, yeah, the hair on my arm, such as it did right now, again, to this day, knew that he came through and was cussing me out and that he already had his whiskey. So that was actually put in a book about the haunted Victorian mansion because it was so alarming and so crystal clear that it was a ghost or an anomaly or a spirit, talking to me on the ghost box.
Oh my God. Do you still have that recording that you could send it in?
I do. I have it, yes.
Oh my gosh.
We use it a lot when we talk about things and I'm on the radio or on television or whatever. We definitely still use that, yeah.
You know what I'm thinking?
We also use the...
For your Minisode, I might send some production notes or like some post notes to my producer. For your Minisode, I might do like after the theme music cuts out, we might put that recording in right in your episode. Wouldn't that be cool?
I can also and I can also send you the Lizzie Borden clip with Sherry, and you could hear her say,
oh my God, that'd be so cool. We can put them together and then people can actually hear it at the end of your call.
Oh yeah.
That would be awesome.
They can hear the sticks clearly, but they have to really open up with their mind's eye to hear the art. I've already had my whiskey, bitch, but you can hear it. I mean, you can definitely hear it.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's so cool.
Crazy.
Well, I always say that, like, do you know what the main show is that I go to haunted places with comedians?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I always say, like, I can't wait to be in production later and then hear something back on a recording. Like, that's what I want more than anything.
That's what you want. And that's the whole thing about it. I mean, every time I go anywhere, other than using my auditory senses and my psychic sensitive abilities, I validate what I feel with my equipment. And that's what makes me so unique in the field, because no other psychic corroborates their feelings with the paranormal equipment. And I have 5 bags of things. I've got all the highest high-tech things that are out there for ghost hunting.
Yeah. I've had one voice come through on a recording one time. Only it wasn't really a voice. It was kind of like a mechanical noise. Like, it wasn't...
Really?
Yeah, but it wasn't any of our equipment. It wasn't me or the comic's phone. It was nothing. But it was like... the timing of it was really weird, because my comic asked me... it was basically like our mics were just still on and we just hadn't turned them off. And he said, so...
Really?
Yeah, he said, so have you had any paranormal experiences yet on the show? And it was like, I don't know, it was like episode 3 or something. Like, it was a brand new show at the time. And I was like, no, I haven't. He goes, well, you know, you're destined to have something happen. And I was like, yeah, right. I don't know. And right after he said that, when you listen back to it, it goes, ooh, like just this weird sound. But it sounds like electronic-y, you know? So it goes, the inflection of the inflection of it goes up. And then Jake says something else, and then the inflection of it goes back down. It goes, ooh, like it makes 2 noises. And I couldn't...
They can make a lot of things happen.
Exactly. And I couldn't figure out what it was. And I sent it to the comic to be like, hey, is this your phone? Or like, do you know what this is?
Right.
And his response back to me was, fuck all of that. And I was like, okay, all right. And so what I did was I left it in the episode, but I didn't say anything about it.
That's awesome.
I didn't say anything in the intro or outro because I didn't want my listeners to think I was messing with them, because it sounds so electronic-y. But yeah, it was a really weird little thing.
That's great.
Yeah, I've had little subtle things happen like that. I've had scents and stuff that come out of nowhere. But going to more places, I think, is going to really open the doors to that once I'm able to do that. Like, the Borden house would be an awesome place to do an episode. I love the overnight episodes because the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, they are something else. Let me tell you, once you go back to the Lizzie Borden, I'm going to tell you, it just draws you in. It is such a quaint little house, and the family was the richest family in town. Everybody knew the Bordens and stuff, and there are no hallways in the house. Every room is connected by another room. So when you go in there, you would seem to think that, okay, stepmom was a very heavy woman. She got bludgeoned to death on the 2nd floor. Anybody on the 1st floor, because I've thrown my body on the same spot of the floor, next to the bed, next to the dresser, while I had guests downstairs, and the whole house shakes, and I only weigh 155.
Yeah.
So anybody that was in the house would have heard Mom getting bludgeoned. So, I mean, just thinking about all the timelines and history of this thing, it's really quite alarming. It really is.
Yeah. So wait, where is the Lizzie Borden house?
It's in Fall River, Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. Okay.
And every August 4th, which is the date of the murders, the house conducts reenactments of the murders, and they invite the public in for a small fee to hear the history and to see the reenactment of the murders. It's really, really something to see, because all of the characters have scripts, and it's crazy fun. It really is. And it's packed every year. It sells out every year.
That's cool. Are you able to spend the night of the murder on August 4th?
You are. And the house also on August 4th holds an auction on eBay from Leanne, the owner. And what she does is she holds an auction for someone, actually for 2 people, to stay in the John Morse room, which is where the mom got murdered. You could stay in the room for the night, during the night of the actual date of the event, and all the money gets donated to the Wounded Warrior or the children's orphanage down the street. So she always donates the money, but you can bid on it. And the highest bidder gets a room for 2 nights in the murder room.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds awesome, but probably out of my price range for the show.
Right, yeah.
But
it's a lot of fun.
I mean, I bet any night you stay somewhere like that, anything could happen.
Anything and everything will happen there.
That is awesome.
It gets ramped up. It's always active, but just being there, over the years that I've been there and the hundreds of investigations and events I've done there, it gets ramped up right before August because of the anniversary of the date. Mm-hmm. It gets really, really ramped up.
Like leading up to the murder.
Yes, leading up to the murder.
Almost like an anticipation.
It is. I mean, the energy around there is insane. A lot of things happen. Yeah. I mean, people who are aficionados like myself go there during that time of year because we know we're going to capture some pretty rare things.
Interesting. So it's like really more like late July might be the best time to be there because it's like leading up.
Late July. Yep, into the end of August. Yeah. And if you go on the Lizzie Borden website, you will not be able to see any rooms available during probably end of June, August, and then into early September on the weekends. During the week, too, it's very, very, busy during that time of the week, too, you believe it or not.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What about the Victorian Mansion? Can you stay there?
Actually, it has recently been purchased. Probably the old owner, when I did my events, used to allow investigations. A new company bought it. They're out of New Jersey. They did a lot of renovations there, and they will be opening it up as a bed and breakfast. But to this day, right now, currently, they do not have any investigations or overnights, but in the very near future, because the town has a lot of constraints that they're putting the new owners through for handicapped ADA things, because it's 3 floors, and if they have it as a bed and breakfast and it wasn't on the National Historical Register, which it's not grandfathered in to not have handicap accessibility there. So they're going through some problems right now with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. That's kind of a
also,
bummer that they have to.
I know, stinks. But I will tell you also that the owners of the Lizzie Borden purchased Lizzie Borden's adult home, which is down the street from the original murder house, and the owners are turning that into a bed and breakfast, but they're going through the same thing with the Fall River Town Hall people, that they have to get some handicap accessibility in there before they open it up as a bed and breakfast as well. So it's called Maple Cross. It's a Lizzie Borden's adult home, and the owners of the original Borden house own that too. So they'll be fixing that up and opening it up soon, probably next year.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely good to know. Wait, so you said it's her adult home?
So there'll be 2 houses. Yeah, yes, Lizzie Borden's adult home. It's called Maple Cross. I actually was one of the first people in the house to do an investigation, and you can find it on YouTube under Rogue Mysteries. It's called the Maple Crop episode, and it's ROGUE Mysteries with Bill Brock and myself. And like I said, we were the first ones in the house to do an official paranormal investigation, and we captured some crazy stuff. And you can actually see that right on YouTube.
Thanks so much for your call, Lucky. It was fantastic to meet you. I can't wait to explore the Lizzie Borden house someday. Do you have a ghost story that you want to tell us on Laughing in the Dark? Email us at litdarkpodcast@gmail.com or write to us in our Contact Us form on our website, litdarkpodcast.com. We may want to feature you on the show. Thanks so much for listening.
Studios.